It's the Chris Miles Show, giving you a logical perspective, an intelligent point of view. The full 411. Live from LA, it's the Chris Miles Show with your host, Chris Miles.
Hey, what's going on, family? What's going on? I hope all is well. Man, we are back. We are back in the sack. We're here to try to entertain as well as educate you. All right? We hope everybody is having an outstanding day today. Today is Tuesday, November the 8th, 2022. A lot is going on out there in society, man, and we're going to try to do our part to jump in on the subject matter because all of the things that's going on, we want to be a part of the conversation. All right. So like I say, man, I hope everybody has had this past weekend, had an outstanding weekend. We was actually supposed to do the show yesterday, but we had some other things came up, and unfortunately we wasn't able to do it. But God has given us another day on this side of the highway. So for that, we are, or I should say the Most High. I got to stop saying God, because God is dog spelled backwards. It's one of the names that the heathen has given him. We call him here, we on the Chris Miles Show, we call him the Most High. So the Most High has given us another day on this side of the highway. So for that, we are grateful. We are thankful. And like I said, we're going to do our part, man, to try to talk about the relevancy of many things that's transacting out there in society today. All right. This is episode 41 of the Chris Miles Show. As we have advertised, today's show is going to be on this individual that I came across, this brother. His name is Rig. I think he goes by the name U.S. Army Overlord. You can find his content on that of TikTok as well as Instagram. Well, anyway, I came across his content and I thought that the brother had good content. So I started following him, and we kind of engaged each other. I actually tried to get him to come on the podcast. Reluctantly, he refused to do so. He kind of said that or played like he would, but then the end of the story is that he never did. But he posted some information. I asked him about the information. He got in his feelings. He made a video, and I counteract the video that he made with my video. And so he just said he wasn't going to get in a back and forth, which he knew not to get in a back and forth with me because he knew exactly where that was going. So we're going to talk about him today on episode 41 of the Chris Miles Show. Other thing we're going to talk about, we're going to be talking about that of TakeOff from the group The Amigos. He grew up with Offset. Offset. And a lot of people are saying that Offset is responsible for him losing his life. They were gambling at some type of bowling alley or something to that effect. And gun violence or gun shooting ring out, And in the process, he got hit, I think they said, in the torso and the head. And we lost that brother. So we're going to talk about that. We want to know if it's the culture, is it the music, what is causing the effect of the gun violence that we see permeating in the hip hop community. One of the other things we're going to talk about today is the NBA and Adam Silver. With all of this stuff that's going on with Kyrie Irving and, a list of things that Kyrie Irving is supposed to do, we think is unfair. So there are a lot of mitigating things that we want to go in on the show today. Also, the ADL we're talking about, and we're also talking about these self-gratifying self-gratifying Negroes, such as Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Stephen A., Amari Stoudemire, and that of Kendrick Perkins. And there are a few more other ones out there, but we're going to talk about. And last but not least, we are going to talk about that of Kyrie Irving. Okay? Yeah. So, one of the other things I want to talk about too, kind of away from the program, that the list of things that we have brought up that we were going to be talking about. We are also going to include in here the topic of health issues. I got a brother by the name of Lamont that I'm going to actually start trying to bring him on every Wednesday to talk about just pertinent issues about health and things of that nature. As many of you may know, I want to share this with you before I go into the show. I went to federal prison for 2 years and 4 months. As I tell people all the time, I'm an actual political prisoner. And the people that know my story know exactly what this shit was about. Okay. I never, did any criminal activities, anything. I never had as much as a fucking speeding ticket. But, the fact of the matter is that, we had these overzealous individuals that came at me. Yeah, that's the mystery of this thing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so we had these overzealous individuals that came at me. And so they, in a sense, tried to carry out their wicked agenda. And it's really the same thing what Kyrie Irving is going through, but my story is a lot worse than his. But nevertheless, so when I come out of there, this is what I want to share with everybody before I go into the show. All right, so before I went into federal prison, all right, I was a vegan. All right, went to the gym every day, worked out. I was very cognizant of my diet, what I put into my temple. And I took a lot of supplements and things like that to keep me healthy for my age, right? I get 50 years old and I'm going and I'm getting into trouble. Like I said, I had never been in any type of trouble up to that point. Nevertheless, so I go in, I'm going 2 years, 4 months, right? I come out, I got cancer. All right. So although I still go to the gym, I've had a lot of problems. And this is the thing. When I came out, I had the cancer. Now, I'm saying that I was given something while I was in there, and I don't know really what it is. I'm thinking about holding these people accountable via lawsuit because of all of the other stuff that I know what I can do now and what they did, what they borrowed from me and that kind of thing. That's another conversation, nevertheless. But where I'm going with this is, okay, so I came out. Went to the halfway house. I stayed in there for 3 months, rather. 2 months and a half, actually. And so I had the surgery to remove the cancer, right? So I had to go every 6 months to be checked and that kind of thing. But what I found to be very interesting at the time is that where I was actually going to the facility for treatment, chemo and all this other stuff, right? People tell me, they say, well, if you don't take the jab, we can't give you treatment. So, and I was really against taking the jab. So anyway, I took the jab, right? So what I've recently realized with me is that my body hurts a lot. Like I'm getting issues with, like my feet hurts me all the time. Now, this is like the feet, like in the bones. I'm having like just real bad pains in my bone, right? Quite naturally, I've suffered with a lot of people don't know lupus, right? So that being said, whenever the barometric pressure drops in the air, I feel it. I can tell you days in advance when it's going to rain. You understand what I'm saying? So my body, I have what is called rheumatoid arthritis, and that shit is bad. But anyway, what I'm saying is I was able to control a lot of this, virtually through the process of my diet and exercise. And like I said, I still do that now as I'm out. But this is what I wanted to tell you all. and I'm going to go into the show, is that I have been struggling here as of late with remembering things, like something as basic as putting the keys down when I'm at my house, putting the keys down, and my body's just constantly hurting, and the pain has been so severe. And this is one of the things that I have never believed. I don't take medicine. I try to tough it out, but I have been actually here as of late having to try to seduce the pain with cannabis, like marijuana. And even the pain is so severe at times, that shit doesn't do any good. But where I'm going with this is the fact that I have, like I said, I have been struggling with my memory. And the thing is, I'm thinking that with all this shit that have gone on with me, and the fact with the cancer, and they forced me into taking the vaccination, and I'm struggling now. I've never had these problems. The problems that I'm having now, I've never had before. And I'm not saying that some of it is not, necessarily coming from my age. I'm 54, but at the age of 54, I still should not be having these issues. But anyway, nevertheless, we're going to talk about it. Like I said, I'm struggling, to remember things now. And, that has been a problem. I find myself more so now having to write down a lot of things. So I have to actually go get that checked, do some tests, and find out what's going on with me. And I'm really thinking that a lot of the problems that I have right now have come from the aspect of what these people did to me. All right, let's go into the show. Yeah, so anyway, as I was saying, I came across this guy by the name of Riggs. I think that's the name that he actually goes by. The brother, as I stated before, I have absolutely nothing against him. I know he probably feel like I do. In actuality, I do not. That's the honest God truth. I have absolutely nothing whatsoever against that brother, man. He's doing the very best with the information that he know to do something with. And that's what people have to understand. Like I said, he had cut this video on me, and I came back and I cut a video on him. And, one of the things what people have to understand about me, man, like I said, I did 2 years and 4 months, and I learned a lot. Okay. I learned to stay in my own lane. And not only did I learn to stay in my own lane, I learned to mind my own business. You understand what I'm saying? But also in the process of that, I learned how to challenge the bullshit. But, there's certain acceptance to how you go out here and you challenge shit. You understand what I'm saying? And like I said, what initially happened with this brother, he had put out some information that I saw it as problematic. And I have asked this question not only to him, but to other people. Like, what are the dynamics, or what are the pros for black people voting? Now, I know today is the actual election day. Okay, as a matter of fact, I should have just opened the show up with that shit about the voting thing, midterms, right? So, we're dealing with midterms, right? The midterms are today. And the fact of the matter is that the Democrats are at a point where they're saying, well, you know what? Democracy is at stake. The Republicans are talking about high crime and all of this other stuff. Now, and this was one of the things I posed to Riggs. U.S. Army Overlord is what he called himself. I asked this brother, I say, brother, man, what have black people gained from voting in the last 50 years? Okay? Well, quite naturally, he got in his feelings and he cut a video on me. Now, matter of fact, this is what I'm going to do. Let me do this. Let me do this. This is some of this guy's content right here. Let me bring it up. Okay. Let me go back to that. So he has been dogging out Donald Trump, which I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. He goes by the name U.S. Army Overlord. Okay, so anyway, he has this thing on there where he's talking about fuck Donald Trump. And let me do this. I'm gonna bring up another clip by this guy. And like I said, I actually questioned the content that he put out there about voting. And this is the thing. Mostly black people vote Democrat. I mean, there's no if, and, buts about it. But mostly black people are very conservative when it comes to the issue. You know, the average black person out there is homophobic. The Democrats are more tolerable the LGBTQ community. Okay? Which is one of the things I think why Barack Obama was pushed and promoted, for the simple fact that it was to have black people turn a blind eye to so many of the issues that they were concerned about. Now, I'm not bashing the LGBT community, but what I am saying is this. The things that a lot of black people tolerate today, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, the black community would not deal with it. But when Barack Obama came about, they say, you know what? Barack is for these things. So we love Barack. We're going to be for these things. And this is what I find so interesting. I made a comment to this guy about something pertaining to Barack Obama. This guy jumped all over me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you would have thought that I said something derogatory about Jesus Christ. And I would never do that. But the point is, let me stop using these heathen names. But the point is that it boiled down to Obama with this guy being like a Jesus type figure. Because like I say, man, he got in his feelings, man. And I just basically asked him a simple question, like, what have we got from voting? This is what everybody out here that's hearing my voice need to understand about the voting. Today is the day that people go vote. Why is it? And I want you all out there that's hearing my voice to think about this specific question. Why is it that every so often, I think it's every 7 years, black people have to bring the subject matter back up about voting? Like, it's like black folks have to go back and renew their right to vote. All along, they're gerrymandering the districts to take the power. And a lot of this has a lot to do with the fact of one of the things that Caucasians realize is that they do not produce, meaning have kids, like people of color do. All right. So a lot of the stuff that you're seeing about them being worried about these gerrymandering districts and saying that the election is stolen, it has a lot to do with that. That's why they overturned abortion. They're not going to come out and tell you, well, we overturn abortion because we know eventually we're going to be in the minority. They would never tell you that, because all along they pushed abortion to black women. So I'm asking this question. This is what I'm saying. This was nothing for this brother to get upset about. And that's the thing. He said, he came out and said, well, Harriet Tubman couldn't save everybody. So surely I asked him in my video that I cut, surely you're not putting yourself in the shoes of that of Harriet Tubman. Surely you wouldn't do no shit like that. Okay? And I asked this question. If all of the things that he's actually saying about voting, right? And I'm not out here knocking the people that vote. If you believe that, that's you know, more power to you. I don't do it. I'm not in the matrix because I understand the dynamics behind this. All right. But for the ones of you that do, I would like to know, since this brother could not answer my question and he went out and cut a video on me, what are the intangibles? What have we as a people gained from voting? Huh? What wealth has been created in the black community? And if voting means so much, why is it now that these people are trying to take your right from you to vote? If we are all Americans, right? If we are all Americans, okay, why is it that we are subjugated to losing the vote? And I say we, not necessarily including me, but, you know, it's generally speaking. Why are we now subjugated to losing the right to vote? They've coming up with all of these things to disenfranchise people from voting. Like, if you're in line, like, you can't nobody bring you no water. I'm like, what the fuck is this, man? So you got a person that's standing in water, could be potentially thirsty, and nobody can bring that person a water? I mean, the whole point is, people, we are dealing with a diabolical people. That's what we have to understand at the end of the day, is that we are dealing with a diabolical people that have an agenda, and their agenda is against you. And this is the thing what I was telling the brother. Like, dude, I get where you're trying to go. You on here showing your guns and all that. Man, listen, man, the establishment got guns too. They got guns that you don't have. You understand? So I can understand you want to go to war with the mega people and all that. All that shit is fine. But you one individual. And voting has not changed the dynamics of the black community in over 50 years. Martin Luther King lost his life behind that bullshit, telling folks, hey man, this is why he said at the end of his life, I feel, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm quoting, but I'm paraphrasing. He said, I feel like I've led my people into a burning house. He knew exactly what the fuck he was talking about. We lost all of the essential things that we needed to be relevant as a people out here, because we deviated from our stores and started going to their stores, and shit crumbled. And quite naturally, we've had some other things to happen. You know, I'm from Alabama, and, you know, Montgomery, Alabama, and a lot of people know the history of that place. You know what I'm saying? We were the ones in Alabama who actually empowered Martin Luther King. We empowered him. We made him a national figure. Nobody else did. The blacks in Montgomery, Alabama did that. So I once also thought like this dude Riggs did. Okay? I'm going to bring up another clip by this guy, and then I'm going to move on to something more relevant to really talk about. So like I said, I'm not bashing this guy.
Parents are on Social Security. You know why they have Social Security? Because they worked for it.
Let me bring this up.
They're on Social Security. Some of your grandparents are on Social Security. You know why they have Social Security? Because they worked for it. They worked hard jobs for it. They had chapped hands for it. They had long hours and sore backs and bad knees to get that Social Security. And if Ron Johnson does not understand that, if he understands giving tax breaks for private planes more than he understands making sure that seniors who've worked all their lives are able to retire with dignity and respect. He's not the person who's thinking about you and knows you and sees you, and he should not be your senator from Wisconsin.
Okay. All of that shit that you hear is the Matrix. Okay? Let me tell you why. One of the things you all have to understand is Social Security is important for this basic one factor. The United States run and operate off of Social Security. Why? Because the United States don't have tangible money. So when you hear all of this shit out here about, man, this man is going to take away people's Social Security. First of all, the Lord only promised us 70, that's 70, right? So the Lord only promised you, think about this, people. Think about this. 70 years on the earth. The United States purposely feed us, or the USDA, who's supposed to regulate our foods, purposely make sure that all type of shit is fucked up with the food. That's why a lot of people today are going to being vegetarians, vegans, or they're more conscious of what they put into their temple because of that reason. And this is what I'm telling you all at the beginning of the program. This is why I say I watched, before all of this shit happened to me, I watched what I ate. Because I was aware of the bullshit that's tied to the USDA and all this other shit, all this shit dealing with this country and the alphabets. Okay? But back to the subject matter of the Social Security. So if you actually believe that this man is finna go out here and fuck with people's Social Security, you actually believe that. So surely the man Ron Johnson that they're talking about, he know people out there that he's surrounded by that's getting Social Security. I don't know the guy's age category. He got some relatives that's receiving Social Security. So these people, they get you in an uproar about certain things. None of this shit ever changed. And we got the midterms. When it comes, the next major election will be 2024. There will be some other dynamics out there that take place. And all of the shit that you're hearing will be something else transacting out here. All of this for people to keep their eyes off of where their eyes should be. That's the whole point, people. All of this shit is for you to keep your eyes off of where it should be. We got the lottery. The lottery is up to $2.4 billion. So I won't ask everybody this. So if you got $2.4 billion, do you give a fuck about voting? Huh? I asked this guy one specific question. The Chinese, the Koreans, the East Indians that come into the United States, who the fuck do they vote for? What candidate are they pushing? And the last I looked, the last I paid attention to shit, their communities won in dire straight like our community. Yet we got representation in D.C. Yet we are still, we still have bad health care. The murder rate amongst each other is bad. Abortion, all of these things that help to destroy our community are still very, very much prevalent. So I'm asking the people out there hearing my voice, I'm asking them, what has voting done for us? What has it done for us? Absolutely nothing. It has done nothing for us. So if that's what you believe, people, more power to you. I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. So, like I said, the thing with him, nothing against his brother. I know he means well and all this other stuff. But the fact of the matter is there are some questions that need to be asked. And let me just say this in closing so I can move on to the next subject matter. I feel like this. If I'm going to be out here voting, if I was me, I'm selling my fucking vote. I don't give a fuck what they say. Let me tell you something. My vote is going to, I need to know this. I need to know who's going to help better my community. That's what I need to know. And I'm going to have a list of things to make sure that my community benefits from it. All this other shit, vote blue and vote red, fuck all of that. I need to know who's going to make sure that this curriculum is in the school, okay? I need to know the certain specifics about certain things dealing with my community. I don't give a fuck about what's going on in these other folks' community. I'm talking about my community. That's what I'm talking about. My vote would be for sale. Because fact of the matter is, what it boils down to, if you ain't doing nothing but selling me goddamn wolf ticket, you can't get shit out of me. That's it. Voting should be about increasing wealth in someone's community. And I'm going to say this and move on to the next subject. Like I said, I think the guy, Riggs, U.S. Army Overlord, I think he's a good guy. I have nothing against that brother. I love to sit down. To a matter of fact, I love that brother. He said some real bad things about Kanye West, and I told him in my video that I made to counteract his video. If it was him going through these things, I would support him. This is what you have to understand. The black community is not a monolith. And nor should we be. On some subject matters, we should be. But on this, we can't be. That's the whole point. That is the whole point. And once again, I'm going to say this. If no one is talking about preventing certain things that plague the black community, stopping these things from happening in the black community, you don't need to vote for them. That's all I'm saying. So for all of you all out there who think like Red, good luck to you. So moving right along to the next subject matter of this young brother, TakeOff, from the group The Migos. You know, that was so unfortunate. That was so unfortunate and so uncalled for that happened to that brother. And I asked the basic questions about all of these things that have been going on in the black community, especially with hip hop music. Where does all of the hate come from? Where does the narrative that we see going on comes from? Can somebody tell me this? I mean, we have seen this shit going on since back in the day when Tupac and Biggie. Now, I think that was some other shit that tied to them losing their lives. And if you realize something about the music shift. And Russell Simmons them had a lot to do with the shift in music. because they sold the music to people who saw a benefit in controlling and creating the conundrums that we see. And those things now are rearing their ugly head. In other words, it tantamount out to Jewish interests. Let's just put this shit where it is. It's behind the music. And this is what Kanye West was talking about. And they are mad and upset about that. They don't want you to know that. They just want you to think that you are inherently criminals. That's what this shit is. This is what they want you to think. And they also want you to think and believe that they are the people of the Bible. Yet when you go through the Bible, none of those things match up to their story. So there are a couple of components to that. What you saw happen to Brother TakeOff in Houston, Texas, is a part of the curses that we as black people living in modern day Babylon are under. That's in Deuteronomy. If you read from Deuteronomy 15 down to 68, you could comprehend and understand what this is. This is what they're upset with Kyrie about putting that tweet out there. They don't want you to think for yourself. They want you to be given an ideology of what they give you for you to think. Let's go into the story. At 7:11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, in a video, you can hear Quavo on the phone, presumably with 911 operators, and he's asking, what does she need to do? A woman on the scene had said she was a nurse and was offering to help TakeOff. TakeOff, 1/3 of the Migos, is dead after an early morning shooting in Houston. Hip hop interest confirmed. Law enforcement sources and multiple witnesses tell us that the fatal incident went down shortly after 2:30 a.m. That's when cops got a call for a man shot at a bowling alley called at 810 Billard and Bowling, Houston. We're going to play some clips, dispatch, on this story. But I have to ask this, in all sincerity, people. What is this? Why does these things keep happening? Why? And from what I hear, if people can find me on TikTok, I'm Chris Miles, or find me on Instagram, I am Chris Miles. I have snippets on there of certain individuals talking about the status of how these business executives take out insurance policies on these rappers. So I asked the question, are we not cognizant? Lord have mercy. Are we not cognizant of the things that we see that's relevant in our community? And why in the fuck do you go to a bowling alley to shoot dice? And why are you shooting dice? You are above that. Why don't you change the cycle and the people that you're around? If you got what you say you do, certain things you don't do anymore. The whole point of having finance is to change a negative dynamic, a negative connotation that you have been placed in by the system. If you've been eating pork chop all your fucking life, you got finance now. You ain't still eating pork chop. You're going to get you a goddamn porterhouse. That's what you're going to do. It has nothing to do with, man, I feel like I'm above the... No, it has nothing to do with that. You change the way you do business. You change the circle of people you around if you know that they're no good. There is no reason for this brother to be dead, man. And you start hearing all type of conspiracy bullshit behind this. I'm hearing the shit was a hit. You know, people named. I'm not going to release anybody's name on here. Shit that I'm hearing. Certain people has been in the rap industry and all this shit, man. You know, I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm not going to make myself liable for any shit that I've heard when I can't confirm it. If we can't confirm it here on the Chris Miles Show, we're not going to say it. But I am saying that this shit that happened to TakeOff of the Migos should not happen. Let's go into this this clip. Dispatch.
For discharging firearms. There's 5 shots fired from downstairs outside near 2004. The people next door are calling in about discharging firearms. It's not next door. It's from 2202 hospital. Discharging firearms or shooting, not sure which. Just Pinto at Dallas. Caller heard noise shots and people screaming. Code 2 shooting just occurred on SO San Jacinto in Dallas.
Okay. So why? I'm asking the question, why? Huh? Why? I got another clip. This is TMZ. So, once again, I have to know, I have to know, people, why does this shit keep happening in our community? TakeOff, whose real name is Kyrie Irving, was the youngest member of the Migos. Quavo was his uncle and Offset his cousin. Those guys mentally will never, ever be right again. Especially when something like that happens to someone that you love. And it's based around gun violence. It's based around, and like I say, certain shit is coming out. People are saying certain things. We have not confirmed it on the Chris Miles Show, so we're not privy to talk about it. And out of respect, I'm not going to talk about it because it's hyperbole at this point. I say all of that because the essence of what we see should not be. I mean, here it is. We see all of the things where certain people from certain other ethnic backgrounds targeting certain people in our community. We can't figure out if we're going to try to love and get along with each other. Let me play another clip.
Who wants to wear a bra? When I found...
That's not what I'm looking for, but let me bring this clip up. But like I said, this whole shit here that we see going on, it's got to change.
Yeah, we sliding through the town, man. We sliding through the town. Now we get down. Got the birthday boy with me. Yeah, also. Yeah, we on the 5th. got a fifth ward. Like that motherfucker. Now I got one for you now. I got a 6-1 coming.
So, the guy that TakeOff is riding in the car with, okay? Let me bring this up. The guy that he's riding in the car with got a gun on the goddamn seat. These guys are multimillionaires, okay? They're multimillionaires. Or stand correct, there's Quavo sitting in the front. Okay. So, man, that's really hard to look at. But the fact is, the guy that they are in the car with, riding with, looks to be a Uzi on the seat or some type of long assault gun. And I have to say, when you look for trouble, you find it. And I sincerely think that all of this that we see happen could have been prevented. If you are going to do, if you like to gamble, you like to shoot dice, more power to you. But you know, when you reach a certain echelon in life, certain things you don't do. And you have to take the right precautionary measures to make sure that certain things don't happen. So we've lost one brother, and then now the other two brothers, which is an uncle and a cousin, have to deal with the aftermath and the after effect of losing him. Mentally seeing that will damage them the rest of their lives. No ifs and buts about it. Keeping the conversation going on the NBA. The NBA and Adam Silver. Adam Silver has come out and suspended Kyrie Irving. Okay. Charles Barkley came out and he said on the show, he said that on NBA on TNT, Charles Barkley said that Kyrie Irving, he called him an idiot. And Charles Barkley is in no position to ever call anybody a fucking idiot. You know what I'm saying? Charles Barkley is not in any position to ever utter the word idiot. I'm like, how the fuck did he even get into Auburn University? You inarticulate individual, you. So you should refrain from ever calling somebody an idiot. And if you are going to do that, then what you should do, you should think about yourself in the process. I'm just saying. So, but anyway, I think what happened, Charles Barkley. Now, when all of this stuff came about, right? When all of the stuff came about, Charles Barkley was the first one to, in a sense, that night. He threw Kyrie Irving completely under the bus. He threw the man under the bus. So I'm just saying, man, you know, this shit is just, it's so unfortunate because, like I said, the NBA is 80% black players. Supposedly, Michael Jordan is the only black owner in the NBA. Okay. But once again, as we were talking about earlier about things that are Jewish ran and controlled, the NBA is also Jewish ran and controlled. Adam Silver is Jewish. And Charles Barkley came out and said that, well, you're not going to take my money. If I were Adam Silver, you're not going to take my money by $40 million and insult my religion. That's what Charles Barkley said. You non-talking bastard, you. That's what Charles Barkley said. Let me see if I can get this clip.
Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment.
See if I can go to this clip. And this is the problem that I have. I call them self-gratifying Negroes. Let me go into this clip.
After the game, and look, if he keeps making a big thing out of the word promotion, that is promotion. If on your social media you say, boom, here's a link to this. That tells me, hey, you should watch this. Correct? He's got 17 million Instagram followers, another 5 million or so on Twitter. You're all over social media. Do you ever put something out there, Shaq, that does not represent something that you feel?
I was probably one of the first guys on Twitter. And when I realized the power it had, I knew I had to be very responsible. Followers, platform, whatever you call it, I knew I had to be responsible. I try to make people happy. I try to make people smile. My formula has always been the same. 60% to make you laugh, 30% to inspire you, and 10% whatever I'm selling. You have to be aware of what you're doing. And you have to be aware that sometimes when you put stuff out, not everybody's going to like it. Some people are conscious, some people are not. I could tell he's not conscious. He doesn't really care what's going on. But us, I know that the game that we used to love and we promote, it brings people together. And it hurts me sometimes when we have to sit up here to talk about stuff that divides the game. Now we got to answer for what this idiot has done. I stand for equality of all people. I've always been like that. Don't matter what religion, no matter where you're from. I could say shalom, salam alaikum, ni hao, sebon, because that's how I was raised. So I don't really want to sit up here and answer questions for what he's done. If you're looking at me, it's my job to make people happy. I can't speak for him and, answer for what he's doing. It's obviously by his answers and the way he answers, he doesn't really care.
Chuck, I think the NBA dropped the ball.
This is what Charles Barkley
said. I think he should have been suspended. I think Adam should have suspended him. First of all, Adam's Jewish. You can't take my $40 million and insult my religion. If you're going to insult me, you have the right, but I have the right to say, no, you're not going to take my $40 million and insult my religion. I think the NBA, they made a mistake. We have suspended people and fined people who have made homophobic slurs, and that was the right thing to do. I think if you insult the black community, you should be suspended or fined heavily, depending.
We're gonna stop it right there. I can't take much more of that ignorant shit by Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley. Let me just say this. The black community is insulted every day. And primarily, one of the reasons why the black community is insulted because we have to listen to motherfuckers like Charles Barkley, ignorant ass, and Shaquille O'Neal. Now, Shaquille is a little better than Barkley. With Barkley, there's no fucking help. But let me just say this. This is what everybody has to understand with the shit with what they're saying. First of all, Kyrie Irving is not an idiot. If Kyrie Irving has 18 million, if he got 100 million people on his platform, and he puts something out, that is his business. We can go out here. This is what I find so interesting about that particular conversation. They say that the movie is anti-Semitic, right? I haven't watched the movie. I hadn't read the book. I got people around me that has watched the movie and read the book. They say that there's nothing in there that's neither. From Hebrews to Negroes, they say there's nothing in there that's anti-Semitic. And how can black people be that term when that term is associated with black people? People of that region. That's first and foremost. That's what I can't understand. But the fact of the matter is that Kyrie Irving, based upon what these self-gratified Negroes, we got Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Stephen A. Smith, and a lot more individuals have thrown this Kendrick Perkins. He's another ignorant motherfucker. These folks have thrown this man under the fucking bus by the fucking tweet. Have they watched the movie? Have they read the book? Are they going off of this shit that society has told them? And what is it? What really and truly? This shit started with Kanye West. Now it has shifted to Kyrie Irving. So what the fuck is this really about? What is it really about? I know what it's about. It is about black people. And you hear me. The ADL and this guy, Jonathan Greenblatt, are against black people finding out their true identity in the world. And they put these individuals like Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Stephen A., Jay Will, and all these other Negroes who's self-gratifying, who's paid with fiat money. Fiat money. Go look that term up. To keep your ass lock and step. I know a lot of shit that I don't even come out and talk about. I know a lot of stuff I don't even come out and talk about. But one of the things I'm tired of, truthfully, I am tired of these Negroes. Because what people have to understand, they are the cancer in our community. They are. They are the ones that keep the bullshit circulating in our community. Even Shannon Sharp, who I've always had the utmost respect for, came out and said some fucked up shit. So I'm thinking Adam Silver came out and is the one, after listening to that bullshit Charles Barkley inarticulate ass said, that's why Kyrie got the suspension. Kyrie didn't go out here and promote no child pornography or no shit like that. He didn't go out there and do anything of such magnitude. He didn't go out here and promote bestiality or some of this other shit out here. He didn't do anything like that. He simply put out a fucking tweet about something that he wanted to share with the people on this platform. Under the Constitution of the United States, we're supposed to have what's called the freedom of thought, the freedom of expression. Or is that just only for a certain group of people when they're shitting on black people? Because it seems like when we are attempting and trying to use that, it doesn't work for us. I went to prison, federal prison, based behind the First Amendment. And I despise the motherfuckers that came at me, the white folks and the Negroes. I hate them with a fucking passion. I hate them and they goddamn kids. And it's my daily prayer that God remove them and their family members from them. And I can say that shit because what the fuck I'm dealing with. I went in healthy and came out with cancer. And every 6 months I have to go deal with this shit because I spoke out for my goddamn community. So don't look for me to be politically correct. I'm politically in goddamn correct. And if somebody got a fucking problem with what I say, change the goddamn channel. Because you in the fucking wrong place. This shit has to stop, man. There's a video out that we're going to release in a little while. And it's already out there, but we're going to put our spin on it. Nick Cannon is talking with and being interviewed by that of Jonathan Greenblatt. And the thing he talks about all of the anti-Semitic shit that they come up with to silence you when they don't want you to talk about certain shit. Nick Cannon go on to say, I know Kyrie is not anti-Semitic. And he go on to mention about buck breaking. This motherfucker say, I don't know nothing about that. You don't know nothing about buck breaking? Your people the one did the shit to us. But you don't know a fucking thing about it, Jonathan Greenblatt. But what you do know about is your goddamn feelings. But you don't give a fuck about our feelings. And then you turn around and you put individuals like Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Stephen A. Oh, they get to keep their jobs, right? Even LeBron came out and said some fly shit on Kyrie Irving. He even came out and said some bullshit. The only somebody handled this shit in a professional manner was that of Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant said, man, I ain't got shit to say about it. Next question, can we move on to some other shit? I know what this is. That's all they had to do. Listen, man, I ain't got shit to say about that. Y'all up here talking about something that's anti-Semitic. Let's deal with this shit. These police officers go out here and gun black people down unarmed, and they go home with fucking pay. This man put out a fucking tweet, and he's sitting at home without pay. Make this shit make sense. Make it make sense. Brett Favre in the state of Mississippi took fucking money from the needy down there. They ain't down there in Jackson, Mississippi. They don't even have fucking clean water to drink or to wash their ass with. But this motherfucker, Brett Favre, took money and nobody said nothing about him. Has he lost endorsements? Has he gone to prison? I've been saying this shit for long as I don't know how many times I have to say this shit. These folks are at war with us. And when black people wake their ass up and turn these goddamn TVs off and say, you know, we ain't going to take this shit no more, that's when the dynamics change. And what's really sad about the shit, Kyrie Irving has apologized. But you know what? They don't like the way he apologized. That's what this shit is. They don't like the way he apologized. So you know what we got to do? We got to show his ass. We got to make sure. We got to make sure that he learns a very valuable lesson. That's what this is, people. That's exactly what this is. This is simply about a man being punished because the powers to be that want to control the thought process of how people think and feel, put out something that goes against the grain of what they have perpetuated to be fact. That's what this is, people. And you know what? God sees it. And you know what else? God is sick of it. And you know what else? He's going to counteract it. This is what this shit tempts us out to with Kyrie Irving.
I want to hear you say your name. Your name is Toby. What's your name? Gunter.
This is what they're doing to Kyrie Irving.
Lord God help that boy. They're gonna put him dead. What's your name? Say it. Toby. Who are you? Say your name.
This is what Jonathan Greenblatt in the ADL is doing to Kyrie Irving. Y'all make sure he gets this goddamn show.
Toby. Hi. Say it again. Say it louder so they all can hear you. What's your name?
Toby. My name is Toby.
Hi. That's a good nigger. Cut him down.
So, that is what they are doing to that of Kyrie Irving. Jonathan Greenblatt and the ADL and Charles Barkley is the one there with the whip beating Kyrie Irving's back. And let me just say this before I close on this subject matter. Charles Barkley is responsible for some friend of mine out of the state of Alabama for them being in federal prison. This Negro Charles Barkley, when I tell you, black folks, he's no good. And I am truly hoping that Greenblatt as well as Charles Barkley get to listen to this podcast, this particular show here, episode 41. Let's go into the next convo. So, this guy, Jonathan Greenblatt, okay, of the ADL, he's behind the cancel culture that you see going on in the black community. All of the things that you've seen happen to certain individuals in the black community, the baby, Kanye West, few others out there, excuse me. The ADL is behind it. Yeah, I know how they parade around, how they tell people that, we're out here fighting hate. But listen, man, the ADL is no different than any other white supremacist group out here. And black people have to understand that they are the target. You are the target. Like I stated in the last part, we talked about the NBA and them self-gratifying Negroes, which we're going to be talking about next segment. Those guys are the ones pulling the strings. It's a simple fix. And as I've stated and said, we are at war with those people. They at war with us. Or they at war with us. We out here marching the streets begging, no justice, no peace. That's what we do. When it come time to stand up, we don't stand for shit. But you know what we will do? We will go out here and fight each other and shoot each other down like dogs and animals. We do that shit to each other. But when it come time to stand against these other communities that fuck over us, who take our resources, who push literature in our community that disrespect our mothers, grandmothers, wives, daughters, who set this negative narrative that our young men are criminals, like what Tommy Tuberville said, who made money off of the back of black kids coming from abject poverty when he was the coach at Auburn. We are seen as nothing. The scriptures tell us, O nation not desire. I think that's in the book of Zechariah. It might be Zephaniah. It's in one of the Z's. O nation not desire. Bring yourself together. I'm paraphrasing. Let me try to pull that up. This is what we have to do. Nothing against these other nations out here. Zephaniah 2:1. It simply says, Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourself together, ye gather together, O nation not desired. That's us. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the people out there that's claiming to be us. They don't fit any of the things that's going on in the Bible dealing with the scriptures. They desire them. Why? Because they control the economics in the world. All they have to do is go out here and say, oh man, such and such said this, such and such did that. Let's cancel him. And he's canceled. And they use these white supremacist groups use individuals like Charles Barkley to push their narrative. That's what this shit is, people. And you should despise them and you should dislike Barkley and the rest of these guys out here and amongst you in your community that do that. We have to hold their ass accountable. They're the ones we have to hold accountable. We know the mindset and the narrative that the ADL, like I say, they're the same. They are a white supremacist group like all these other white supremacist groups out here that hate black people. And we know they hate you because they walking around with your goddamn identity in their back pocket all along telling you two fucking continents. Which fucks up your tax status. And one of the reasons why you can't get reparations. Because you're not identified as a fucking nation. You're identified as two continents named after two white men. Leos, Scipios, Africanus, and Amerigos Vespucci. That's what you're named after this here. And you cool with it. You know why? Because you get to turn on the TV and watch the likes of LeBron James and Ja Morant and all these other guys and watch football. All of these guys who take your mind away from. It's a conduit. It is the soother for the pain. That's what this is. All I'm saying is you have to realize what's going on around you, and you have to be cognizant of the people who has an agenda against your agenda. We're just trying to survive. And this is one of the things that I often said. We go back to the beginning. I was talking about voting. We have a total of $1.9 trillion. in spending capital. None of that goes back into the black community. None of the politicians out there that's running, that's soliciting or advocating for votes are asking people to channel those resources back into the black community. Why is that? Why is it that none of these things becomes relevant when it's dealing with your community? Everybody is about taking from the community. Everybody eats off of us except us. There's a Jewish guy there right now. I think his last name is Salter. He owns the right to Muhammad Ali's name. He acquired the name back, I think, sometime in 2000, early 2000, maybe before. I'm not for sure, for $50 million. So every time you go out here and you buy something with the name Muhammad Ali, he gets paid off of it. A Jewish guy. And he's so money hungry and about controlling the name Ali, he wanted to take Layla Ali's name because she has her own products. He feel like he should get paid off that. We are dealing with evil people, black people. We are dealing with evil people, black people. When you go into the scriptures say they are the synagogues of Satan. God is not a liar. They can get mad at me all they want. I don't give a fuck. You understand? I've been through entirely too much. Bite my goddamn tongue. And I promise anybody. I'm not going to say, but I'm just going to say I've been through a lot. That's all I'm going to say. But we are dealing with this guy, this ADL. I keep saying this. They are a white supremacist group. Now, I'm sure they're going to probably put me as some person of hate. You know, fuck what they say about me. I don't hate nobody. But I know one thing. If you mention anything about my name or the Chris Miles Show, you better make sure your goddamn eggs are in a row because I will be filing a lawsuit against your ass. You better get it right. You better get it right. That's all I'm saying. And under the Constitution, I got a right to say what the fuck I want to say, how the fuck I want to say it, when the fuck I want to say it. And I know a lot of my words don't necessarily soothe those, but it's not intended to be that. It's not intended. It is intended to galvanize the minds of those to make you think and to make you change a dynamic that's not good. That's what this is. That's what this is. And I'm just saying this. One of the things I have to say, and I will say this with confidence, is that what we have to do is change the narrative of, we have to change the narrative of so many things that's not right in our community. That's what we got to do. And it starts with us. So, keeping the conversation going on Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Stephen A., Kendrick Perkins, Amari Stoudemire, Jay Will, and some of the other ones that have come out contrary to Kyrie Irving. Like, I asked them the question, why can't we, as a people, come together? Why can't we have admiration and love and concern for each other? Why can't we do that? What's the problem? Why is it that these organizations, corporations that make money off of us have to come get individuals like you to state a false narrative about people within our community? Why? And why do you have to validate things when you know it's not fact? Why do you all do that? It has been saying since the times and days of slavery, we are each other's worst enemy. That's a fact. I wonder, like I was talking about earlier, Charles Barkley was talking about all this stuff about Adam Silver and all this stuff. Did Charles Barkley feel this way when some of these innocent black guys was shot in the streets unarmed? Did he come out and say that the police officers need to be suspended without pay until the investigation is complete? Then Shaquille came out and said, well, my thing is 60% is to make people laugh. Listen, man, you have to have principles in life that you stand on. And if a person doesn't agree or identify with your principle, fuck them. Christ himself didn't make everybody happy, but he stood on principle. The problem is you all don't stand on no principle. Y'all wherever the fucking wind blow, which has become problematic in the black community because, as I was talking about earlier, most black people had something that they stood on. They had a principle they stood on before Barack Obama came in to office. I'm not saying anything negative against him, but what I am saying is that he changed the dynamic in the black community, made you look the other way. So now the shit is more acceptable. So if you come out and say something against a certain sector out there, then you wrong for saying it. What about the principle you stand on? And you know what's crazy about this? This is what the Republicans are talking about. And this is why they are resulting to gun violence to, as they say, we want to take our country back. This is what they're talking about. And they are willing to do whatever the fuck they got to do to take their country back. That's why you hear all this shit come out about the liberals now. The curriculum in the schools. The transgender bathroom. Like, you can go into, a man can go into a woman's bathroom. All of this shit is fucking unheard of. But this is what they're talking about. And a lot of it for them might be far-fetched. I don't know. But they see a system that they set up eroding and they're unhappy about it. And they're willing to do whatever the fuck they got to do to change this precedent. That's what you see going on, people. Those are the facts. And the thing is, like I said, we have individuals in the black community don't stand for shit. Muhammad Ali stood for shit. Lou Alcindor, who became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, stood for something. Jim Brown, those guys stood for something. Oscar Robertson, they stood for something. They removed the black man out of the home, and these kids were raised by black women. So they have an effeminate mind state and thought process when it comes to the fact. And all of that shit that it didn't do, they changed the dynamic with money. And the black community today is in ruins because of that. And all I'm saying is to all of the ones out there in the black community that put yourself on a pedestal level, when certain things that you turn your back on, the likes of Kyrie and Kanye, when this shit starts to happen to you, don't look for the black community to save you. Your hood card has been revoked. Stay over there where the fuck you at. Because believe you me, that day is coming. And it's a lot closer and sooner than you think it is. Don't come to my, I'm sorry. No, we don't want that. You go back over there where you at. You, your family, your kids, take your ass back over there across the fence. Go back over there. We good over here in the hood, as they say. And this is figuratively speaking. Because I know a lot of you, I like to say something, don't understand the lingo. But for the ones of you that do, cool. And all I'm saying is this narrative of what we've had and things that have gone on, we have to change the objective of how we deal with each other first and foremost. That is the key element of what all of this shit is. And the ones of us who are Benedict Arnolds, we have to separate from you and wish you well. That's why I say stay over there where you at. And the other thing we got to do is we got to turn off them goddamn TVs and stop listening to that bullshit that you all propagate. The last subject matter of today's show is that about Kyrie Irving. Kyrie, I'm going to say this as the host of the Chris Miles Show. I have a newfound respect for you like never before. You stand on principle. And realize this, although a lot of the ones that you break bread with every day, that being one of the ones that you even won a championship with, that being LeBron James. I was hurt and devastated he came out and threw you under the bus like he did. When he could have simply took Kevin Durant's approach and say, listen, man, I have no comments on the subject matter. The man apologized. I don't know nothing about it. I come in, I go to work, yada, 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 so on, et cetera, woo, woo, woo. Hey, end of story. He could have simply did that. But he volunteered information that they didn't ask him for. Which is sad. But Kyrie, like I said, I got a newfound respect for you. I think a few people have come out to your defense that's on that level. One being, Floyd Mayweather. I really appreciate what Floyd did. And let me just say this, Kyrie. Don't deviate from your principle. Hopefully we can turn with the community. The community supports you. So hopefully we can turn a negative into a positive. You pray, stay grounded, stay humble. The main thing is to stay humble. All of the other guys out there I'm talking about, they're not humble. So the Most High, God will deal with them in due time. You stay humble. The community supports you. We're with you. Me and a lot of other people have called for a boycott against the NBA. And if Nike don't reinstate you, because we're the ones buying the product. This is what I'm talking about with the $1.9 trillion. We're buying the tennis shoes. So if they do not set the record back, we just pull our money up out of Nike for good. Sometimes we have to make radical decisions, radical moves to change a radical narrative. These people, as I have stated before, they are at war with us and they don't give a fuck how their narrative spin as long as they get their objective. But what about our objective? So Kyrie, you stay grounded. You stick to your principle. It's circulating on social media that, and I don't know, we haven't been able to validate it, but it's on Twitter, Instagram, and some of the other social media conglomerates that you even considering retiring. The only thing I'm going to say as I end this show is do whatever's best for Kyrie and his family and your children. And know this, that we, whatever you decide to do, we support you. I don't know you, but I love you, brother. And I appreciate your stance. And the movie, from what I gather, I have not seen it. I have not read the book, but I intend to do both. From what I see and what I've heard, is not anti-Semitic. I think it's some other shit attached to it, which is they are worried about you having 4 million people that watch you on Twitter, 14 million on Instagram, you waking up the masses, and the lie that they have perpetuated to the world being exposed. That's their concern. And the process that you did it because you and others are in bed with them, this is what that is. Stay humble, my brother, and know that your community supports you. I'm going to end the show for today. Thanks, everybody, for listening to episode 41. Be sure to find my content on YouTube, The Chris Miles Show, @ I am Chris Miles, @ I'm Chris Miles, on TikTok, Twitter, @ I'm Chris Miles. On Instagram, that of YouTube, and that of Facebook, @ I am Chris Miles. As I always say, everybody be humble, but as I always say, and we're going to hold fast to that, the Moving Finger Rights has written, moves on, but not officially. To all, good day.
Hurry up. It's the Chris Miles Show, giving you a logical perspective, an intelligent point of view. The full 411.